Okay, hello and welcome to what will be the end of my Roval wheel Chris King renovation experiment. Um, you might have, if you've been following this at all, you've probably saw there was a comment about my last video that said, hey, be careful because the Roval hub, which is this hub here, is a 2-to-1 design, meaning you've got twice as many spokes on the drive side as you do on the non-drive. And these are obviously straight pulls, so you can't quite see the holes that easily. But yeah, and he's right. There are, it is a 2-to-1 design, kind of similar to what Campy's been doing for years, and or Fulcrum, if whatever you're following. I looked at the rim, and I did know this was an issue. I don't know how many people have actually built wheels, but if you've built them, you know that the holes are offset. And I don't know how great this is to pick up on a video, but the holes are offset and they basically go left, right of center. Not a big surprise, which these do. However, if you kind of have a look at some of the spoke heads, you can see this is maybe an example of one right here that's you can kind of pick up. Sorry if the video is not great. You can kind of see how the angle of the spoke coming out of the spoke head, it just isn't right. And what's happened is Specialized they've drilled the holes for the spoke, for the nipples. Yeah, I don't know if this one, you can kind of see this spoke actually comes out on a kind of a funky angle. Yeah, and some of them do. I didn't worry about it. Yeah, there's maybe a better example there. See how it doesn't quite come off at the right angle? Because, yeah, they've drilled the spoke holes on the rim at a certain angle to match the hub they're using. So it's a hub that's designed to work with this rim. And that was the comment that was posted on my video. And, thanks for that post, whoever, I forget the guy's name that did it, but he's right. I knew it was a problem when I was building the wheel. You could kind of tell that the angles weren't quite right. The non-drive side spoke tension isn't great on this build the way it is now. So what I did is I put a Chris King hub in. I did 2 cross both sides. So they're even spokes now, not 2-to-1. And I've ridden this wheel of, I don't know, a few hundred kilometers or something. And it's been fine. It really rolls beautifully. Really quite nice. The spoke tensions have remained good, but it's not right. Now the comment on my last video was that I could crack the rim. I would hope that isn't the case, but possibly. I think probably what would happen more so is the spokes might shear at some of these little funny angles you're getting at some of at the hub itself, where the spoke head you can't quite get it to sit properly. But probably more likely, I think you'd get them to shear at the spoke head, at the nipple itself, which, hey, isn't great. So, long story short, don't do this. I wouldn't recommend it. It didn't build up really well. By the way, the spoke tension on the drive side is perfect. No problem at all. Which is, if you've built a wheel, you kind of know that is the trick of building wheels. Once you get a hang of it, is getting a decent amount of tension on the non-drive side for a rear wheel. That's the trick. And honestly, in my opinion, that's the trick of wheel building, kind of period. Because front wheels, now of course we're talking wheels that are a rim brake wheel, because if it's a disc wheel, then you do have some torsion. You've got or some torque problems you've got to deal with. But on a rear wheel rim brake setup, the whole trick, it really, once you've done a few wheels, is getting a nice amount of tension on the non-drive side. any wheel building course you ever take will tell you don't worry about the non-drive side. It's just the drive side. Get it to tension. Make sure it's where it is, and then hopefully you'll figure out a way to get a decent amount of tension on the non-drive side. That usually means you start on the drive side, get it almost to tension, and then you start adding some tension on the non-drive side and hope it all kind of balances out, and sometimes it does. But this wheel didn't build up really nicely, and yeah, the comment is correct. I would not recommend doing this. This rim is really, they've drilled it specifically for their hub, and it's a bit unfortunate because I really like the way this wheel rides now, but it's not right. So I'm going to take this apart this winter, put it back the original rim. I've ordered new spokes. I'm going to go with a slightly heavier spoke, but I'm going to go back to the 2-to-1 hub, and so a bit of a failed experiment, but hey, live and learn. If you're thinking of upgrading your Roval wheel to a different hub, don't do it, is my recommendation, unless you get another 2-to-1 hub design, which you could find out there. But yeah, so I'll rebuild this back with the original hub, and I'll put a little heavier spoke in. So I haven't quite decided what spoke I'm getting yet, but we'll see how that goes. Maybe CX rays or something, or I don't know. Maybe I'll stick with the DT Aerolites, which are a nice spoke too. We'll see. We'll see what I do. On wheel building, just in general, if you want to start building wheels, if that's something you're interested in, I built a lot of these types. So this is an aluminum rim, 3-cross. It's a Dura-Ace hub on this one. This is a H+ Sun hub. And if you want to try to build a wheel, do this. This rim, and it just is a beautiful rim to work off of. Builds up super nice. Dura-Ace hubs, Shimano hubs in general, a little, maybe not my favorite hub to work with, just because the spoke holes are really tight tolerances. So, and this is pretty much every Shimano hub I've ever worked on. It's a little, these are double-butted spoke, and what you'll find is getting them through the spoke hole nicely is a little bit of a pain. It doesn't fit perfectly well, but still, Dura-Ace hubs are one of my favorite hubs to ride. And yeah, so yeah, if you're thinking of building a wheel for yourself, I'd start with an aluminum rim and, a nice simple hub, symmetrical, and 3-cross for a rear wheel is a nice simple way to do it. So 3-cross both sides. The front wheel doesn't really matter that much. I'm a pretty big guy, and I've ridden a radially spoked front wheel. Never had a problem with it. Again, talking rim brakes here, because if you have disc brakes, and you've got another problem you've got to deal with. You can't radially spoke a disc wheel, but yeah. So my recommendation: start with an aluminum wheel, 3-cross, nice simple design. It's bomb-proof, very easy to build, and yeah, I love this wheel. It rolls beautifully. But on the specialized experiment, don't do it. So learn from my mistake, and yeah, I'll let you know how it all works out later. Thanks. Bye for now.